Hello, dear students. So, in the last lecture, we were discussing about the taxonomic aids, and we had seen that what is the meaning of herbarium and what is its usefulness, how it is prepared, and what actually it does mean. Right? Similarly, we also had seen about the museums, the botanical gardens, and zoological parks. So, after having discussed the botanical gardens and herbaria in details, now we will discuss museums and zoological parks and another interesting taxonomic aid called as key, which is included in your syllabus. Okay, so having discussed the botanical gardens, now you have got a fairly reasonable idea that we have devised, rather the scientists have devised both the ways of preserving the plants, uh, be it in the form of the dead samples or specimens collected and arranged very nicely in a systematic order along with their proper description into the uh, proper place called as herbaria, or the live samples artificially grown in the garden called as botanical gardens. Now in the museums, actually, uh, again in the museums, the specimens are kept which are used for the study purpose, which helps to identify different organisms. So it can be used for the identification purpose, for the study purpose, and for reference. Okay, so what is the use of the museums? It is used for study, for reference, for identification and characterization of specimens of not only plants but animals also. We had seen that in the herbaria or in the botanical gardens you have the plants species. Okay, herbaria and botanical gardens have the specimens of the plants only, but in the museums you can have the specimens of both plants and animals, and mostly museums have dead specimens of the plants and animals. Okay, they may have some live animals, but usually most of the samples in the museums are dead samples of the plants and animals. एनिमल्स के लिए बहुत सारे एनिमल्स के सिर्फ स्केलेटन भी हो सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल आपने शायद टेलीविज़न वगैरह में देखा होगा कि डायनासोर्स के स्केलेटन्स जो है म्यूज़ियम्स में लगाए जाते हैं. ये कुछ लार्ज मैमथ लाइक organisms are there. So, or sometimes the elephant or giraffe skeleton is also displayed in the museums. So these are not only used for the study and reference purpose, but sometimes people visit out of curiosity to know more and a little bit of sort of entertainment also. Various kinds of beautiful birds may be stuffed inside their beautiful feathers, and they might be displayed in the museums. So these kind of museums are usually placed at the educational institutes like schools, colleges, or universities. So the museums in the mostly museums are placed in the colleges or departments of the universities. Sometimes museums are also maintained at schools. Uh, these samples of the plants or animals may be preserved in some chemicals. There might be some transparent boxes where these animals or plants can be kept under the preserved conditions, which can be observed from the outside, and one can identify and see the characteristics and properties of those specimens of the plants and animals. Okay, usually because schools and small colleges have lesser resources than universities, so big institutes and universities have a fairly larger museums as compared to the schools or small colleges. Okay, So the famous museum, there are so many famous museums. Museum of Bombay Natural History Society at Mumbai is one of the very rich museums in India, which contains a large amount of the flora and fauna available. So museums are also a category of the taxonomic aids, which help the taxonomists and systematists to do the characterization, identification, and taxonomic studies. Now, let us come to the next taxonomic aid, which is zoological parks. You all know, or most of you would have visited uh, some or the other zoos. So, the zoo contains the live animals, right? So what happens that live animals either are captured, or sometimes what happens that the animals which are already there in the protected environment, they are breeded, and these animals of different kinds which are usually not found, which are usually not domesticated, these animals are captured and kept under the suitable conditions, uh, under the human care. Okay. So wild animals are kept under the protected environment and protected conditions, and a proper human care is provided to them, and food, medicine, and shelter is provided based on very sound and very scientific knowledge, so that these animals don't feel any threat, and it is not uh, difficult, or it is not harmful for their survival. Many times, some animals which are actually endangered and which are facing a huge threat outside in the wild conditions are also brought to the zoos, and they are kept under the artificial conditions, so that uh, they can grow, they can reproduce, and so that sometimes actually what has happened that the animals or the species which were critically endangered or which were very threatened and were actually going towards the extinction, once they were kept in the zoos, they multiplied and grew rapidly, and they came out of the endangered list. So, in this way, zoological parks are very useful, and they are also a source of entertainment. And zoos are mainly for uh, the zoos are mainly used for the taxonomic studies for the animals. So various kinds of the animal species, be it smaller organisms or large big animals like giraffe and elephant, or even small kind of the animals are maintained, and it is tried that the maximum number of the animals uh, are brought, that means the most kinds of or most number of the species of animals are brought and kept under the environments which is very similar or nearly the natural habitat kind of conditions are provided, so that it is not difficult, it is not harmful for the animals. So as you can see here in the figure, that here in this picture you can see that different animals are shown which are there in the zoological parks of India. You can see rhinoceros are maintained, elephants are also maintained under large in the large enclosures. Okay, tigers also have been maintained. So similarly, these zoos are actually a very good source of not only the entertainment, but it actually serves a public purpose as well, that it educates the general masses, it educates the general public about the importance of these animals, and it makes the people aware, and it educates the general people about the various useful aspects, and it makes the people to appreciate the beauty of these fauna, these animal species. uh, many of the many of us may not be very much privileged to go to tours and see these animals in their wild conditions. But if we visit some good zoos in a big city, usually we can see so many kinds of the animals, and we can know that okay, these are the animals, and we can appreciate their beauty. We can get more and more knowledge about it. However, from a taxonomist point of view, as we have seen that botanical gardens contain only a label which contains the scientific name of that particular plant along with the local names, and uh, also the family of that particular plant. However, in the zoos also, you don't find the detailed description like the sheets of herbaria for the plants, but in the zoos, you will only see the names of the organisms. You can see the names, and then you can find out the characteristics by observing them, but you don't have a detailed sheet available in the zoos for those organisms at display. Okay. However, uh, good taxonomists and the people who are very much aware of these species and their behaviors, their food habits, they are employed who take care of these animals, and uh, they they contain they actually they get the information, detailed information for the species which are available in the zoos. So one famous example is the Alipur Zoological Park in the Kolkata. Okay, so Alipur Zoo is a very famous zoo. So, similarly, there are zoos in several parts of the country which are big zoos and contain, and they house large number of the species. So now, after having seen the herbaria, botanical gardens, museums, and zoological parks, which are really very useful for the taxonomists, and they help us to study the diverse kinds of the plants and animals, and they help us to appreciate the beauty of the living world. By visiting these places, we can know about the thousands and thousands of the gifts of nature, and we can know about their medicinal values, about their social values, about their ethical and cultural values, etc. Okay, and we also get happy by seeing these different kinds of beautiful plants and animals, and by learning about their behaviors, or by listening their sounds of these unique kinds of the animals, etc. Now another uh, taxonomic aid is key. So key is actually a different category of the taxonomic aid over here, as we have seen in the case of these taxonomic aids discussed earlier. जैसे कि हमने देखा कि हर्बेरियम में या फिर बोटानिकल गार्डन, म्यूजियम और जोलॉजिकल पार्क में हमने देखा कि वहाँ पे जो ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैं उनके सैंपल्स वहाँ पे रखे जाते हैं। लेकिन की जो है ये भी एक टैक्सोनॉमिक एड है, यानी ये टैक्सोनॉमिस्ट को हेल्प करता है. इट facilitates the study of taxonomy and classification, but it does not house the specimen. तो की क्या होता है? की is actually another category of the taxonomic aid, and की एक ऐसी चीज़ है, it is a thing which is used for identification of the organisms. So it actually, key actually contains certain information. Okay, what is key? Key is a literature. Key is an information which is used for identification of organisms, and it is based on contrasting characters. Okay, for example, if you want to differentiate between chordates and non-chordates, then there should be at least one character which can be used to distinguish between these two categories. Okay, तो chordata एक phylum है, और उसके अलावा बहुत सारे और फाइलम हैं जो नॉन कार्डेटा से बिलोंग करते हैं। तो all the organisms which possess notochord at some or the other stage of life are included under the category of the chordates. Chordata हम ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, राइट। पिसीज, एविस यानी एव्स यानी कि बर्ड्स, फिशेस, रेप्टाइल्स, मैमल्स, एम्फीबियंस, ये सब कार्डेटा के मेंबर हैं, हमने ऑलरेडी देखा था। तो अगर कोई ऑर्गेनिज्म कार्डेटा से बिलोंग करता है कि नहीं, ये आपको पहचानना है। तो इफ़ यू गेट टू नो दैट this organism possesses notochord or not, so if it is a chordate, it will have notochord at some stage of its life, if not throughout the uh, life cycle of that particular organism. So what is notochord? Again, notochord is a particular specialized tissue which these specialists can identify. So similarly, mammals can be identified by the presence of the body hair. So usually there are certain kinds of the characters which can be made, which can be used to distinguish and to decide whether that particular organism which you are taking and which you want to study and identify uh, belongs to that particular uh, category of taxon or not. Okay, तो ये जो कंट्रास्टिंग करेक्टर्स होते हैं, यूजुअली ये दो करेक्टर्स होते हैं, यानी कि ए पेयर ऑफ करेक्टर्स। दैट मीन्स इफ the organism is having the four legs, or if it is not having the four legs, okay, or if the organism is having the jointed legs, or if it is not having the jointed legs, right? So such kind of the contrasting pair of the characters are there, and these are called as couplet. तो couplet का मतलब होता है a pair of contrasting characters, okay. So these couplets or these pair of the contrasting characters are actually used to decide which taxon that particular organism belongs to. और फिर ये जो आपके पास कपलेट है, यानी जो एक करेक्टर का एक आपने पेयर लिया है, उसकी बेसिस पे आपने एक टैक्सॉन डिसाइड किया, उससे फिर आपने नेक्स्ट लेवल ऑफ जो क्लासिफिकेशन है, यानी कि वी हैड सीन द 7 ऑब्लिगेट कैटेगरीज ऑफ द क्लासिफिकेशन, राइट। सो यूजिंग दिस पेयर ऑफ द करेक्टर्स you can go on higher and higher in the rank, and then you can decide that whether that particular organism belongs to which category and which taxon. Then again you can decide which category and taxon it belongs to. So different characters can be used to proceed successively one after another. So what happens that if you take one statement, if you take one pair of the couplet, if you take one couplet, if you take one pair of the contrasting characters, so this one statement actually in the key gives you or makes you able to go ahead, to go up in the ranking of the classification. So that is why it is called as lead. तो लीड का मतलब क्या होता है? लीड का मतलब होता है ए स्टेटमेंट इन द की, ठीक है। तो जो आपने पेयर ऑफ कंट्रास्टिंग कैरेक्टर्स लिए हैं वो एक स्टेटमेंट हो गया, और फिर उसके स्टेटमेंट की बेसिस पे आप वो रैंक डिसाइड कर पाते हो। सो दैट इज़ वाई इट इज़ कॉल्ड एज ए लीड। सो ए स्टेटमेंट इन द की इज कॉल्ड एज लीड। सो की एक्चुअली क्या है? Key is not a specimen, but keys are actually certain analytical informations, certain analytical characters which help us in the identification and in the characterization of these organisms. Okay, so now we have studied about all the taxonomic aids. There are certain additional things which we should know. So actually there are certain terms for which you must know the meaning of these terms once you have studied a brief account of the diversity of the living worlds, and you have appreciated different kinds of the organisms and how they are studied and classified and arranged in a systematic way. तो एक टर्म आता है फ्लोरा। तो फ्लोरा का मतलब होता है कि एक बुक या एक कॉम्प्रहेंसिव इंफॉर्मेशन होती है। तो फ्लोरा इज ए ट्रीटाइज ऑफ द प्लांट्स ऑफ ए पर्टिकुलर एरिया। ओके, if you take a certain geographical area and if you include in that book all the details, the identification, characterization and taxonomic, the classification details of that the particular plant, then this treatise of the plants having the detailed taxonomic information is called as flora. Similarly, fauna, fauna, fauna is again a treatise of the animals of a particular area, and fauna will contain the information for the identification and characterization and classification of those animals of that particular area. Then what is the manuals? So manuals, actually, again, manuals are the books which contain information for identification of a species of an area. So flora is restricted to the plants only, fauna is restricted to the animals only, but manuals have the information for all the species of a given area. However, manuals may not have the detailed description, rather the manuals have brief information which enables proper identification of those species of that area. सो दिस इज़ द डिफरेंस। ओके, मैनुअल के अंदर क्या होता है, इतनी इन्फॉर्मेशन होती है कि आप जो भी स्पीशीज़ किसी गिवन एरिया में हैं आप उनको ईजिली आइडेंटिफाई कर सको। तो ये होता है मैनुअल्स। सिमिलरली कैटलॉग्स होते हैं। तो कैटलॉग्स में क्या होता है, कैटलॉग्स विल कंटेन द इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट all the kinds of different organisms of a particular area, so that if you want to know that which organism is present at what location, you will have the catalogs. Like if you make a catalog of the certain, for example, if you make a catalog of the chordates of Maharashtra, then you will have the list or the very short information about all the species of the Maharashtra which belong to the chordates. Okay, so catalog, again catalog में एक वेरी ब्रीफ वेरी लिटिल इन्फॉर्मेशन होता है, मैनुअल्स में आइडेंटिफिकेशन के लिए इन्फॉर्मेशन होता है, लेकिन फ्लोरा और फाउना में पूरा डिटेल इन्फॉर्मेशन होता है। मैनुअल में ऑल स्पीशीज़ के लिए इन्फॉर्मेशन होता है, ओके, और फ्लोरा में सिर्फ प्लांट की स्पीशीज़ के लिए होता है, फाउना में सिर्फ एनिमल की स्पीशीज़ के लिए इन्फॉर्मेशन होता है। इसी तरह से मोनोग्राफ, व्हाट इज़ मोनोग्राफ? सो मोनोग्राफ इज़ ए बुक विच कंटेन्स डिटेल्ड इन्फॉर्मेशन ऑन एनी वन टैक्सॉन। ठीक है, तो ये जो टैक्सॉन है, वन टैक्सॉन, दिस वन टैक्सॉन may belong to any of the category, any of the rank of the taxon. For example, a monograph may contain information about certain family, or it may contain information about certain order, it may contain information about any other taxon. जैसे कि फैमिली सोलानेसी पे कोई मोनोग्राफ हो सकता है, तो फैमिली सोलानेसी से रिलेटेड जितना भी डिटेल इन्फॉर्मेशन होगा आपको वो सब उस मोनोग्राफ में मिल जाएगा। कोई दूसरा मोनोग्राफ है जो ऑर्डर प्राइमेटा पे है, तो उसमें ऑर्डर प्राइमेटा के जितने भी ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैं, जितने भी उसके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं, जितने डिस्क्रिप्शंस हैं, उसका क्लासिफिकेशंस है, वो सब आपको उस मोनोग्राफ में मिल जाएगा। ठीक है, तो इस तरह से नाउ यू हैव लर्नड द मीनिंग ऑफ these terms, that what does it mean, and now you also know that if you want to gather the detailed information about various kinds of the species or various types of the organisms which are there in a particular area or in a particular district, then these are the kinds of the manuals, or these are the kinds of the books which you can search for, and then you will get those kinds of the information. Okay, so now we have finished this chapter, the first chapter of your syllabus, where we have discussed in detail that what is the living organisms, what is the meaning of the living organisms, and what are different important characteristics which can be used to distinguish between a living organism and the inanimate matter. And we also have appreciated the diversity of the living organisms, the different shades and different types and colors of the plants and animals, and the thousands and varieties of the uses which it can cater to human cultural, social, religious, and aesthetic purposes, and for several industrial uses. So we have appreciated uh, very briefly about the diversity of the living organisms, about the diversity of the living world which nature has bestowed to us, and then we have seen how these kinds of the taxonomic categories actually help us to study about these uh, tens of lakhs of the species which exist, which are known to the humankind, and how we can have a feeling, how we can have an idea about these organisms which are there on the earth, and various taxonomic aids, various taxonomic things which help to educate, to make people aware, and to help the taxonomists for identification and characterization, and also the classification of these organisms into different uh, systematic ways, so that it becomes easy for uh, appreciating and for understanding these resources. Okay, so now we will stop here. I hope that you have enjoyed this beautiful chapter which discusses the myriads of living organisms and how they can be studied and appreciated. So we have finished this first chapter of the unit, where we are supposed to discuss the diversity in the living world. Now in the next lecture we will discuss the biological classification of the organisms, that how these organisms have been classified, and how these organisms uh, uh, are categorized, and what are different features, different characteristics, what are the major groups of the organisms, what are the major taxons. So these things we will see briefly, and we will appreciate various kinds of the beautiful organisms which nature has bestowed to us. Okay, so get back to me for any clarification if you have, and keep learning, keep making your own notes in addition to the things, in addition to the notes which you see here in the notebook mentioned over here. Okay, so thank you, bye bye.